Hello and welcome to Rainbow Magician Tarot. My name is Mary. Thank you for joining me today. Finally, we have a video for predictions for 2021, which I said I was going to do like weeks and weeks ago. So I apologize. My life has just been very busy trying to transition back to my last semester of college, so it's been a bit of a rocky ride. But we're finally here. We're gonna do this. This isn't really going to be so much prediction and like, I see this specific thing happening that you have no control or say over, because I don't really do readings that are like that. I try to empower you based on what you can do in the present moment, kind of where you're heading in your life and what decisions can you make so that you are doing the best that you can with what you have for what you want to create in the world. I hope that made sense. I'm a little tired, so hopefully I will make sense in this video. But without further ado, we will get into the reading. There'll be a pick a card, 3 groups. Choose with your intuition. And just whatever pile calls out to you. Let me see if I have any announcements or things I want to say. My Etsy shop is open for paid readings, so click the link below if you're interested in that. I also have a Redbubble shop I just opened. I'm working on some other stuff for this channel very soon. One of my goals this year is to start a Patreon, so we will see if that happens. So please subscribe, stay tuned if you would like to be part of this community. Leave a comment down below if this resonates, and we will get to the reading. Thank you. Okay, so here we have group 1, group 2, group 3. Group 1, we have a piece of ocean jasper, palm stone. Group 2, we have this piece of Dalmatian jasper. And group 3, we have this chunky amethyst. So, again, meditate for a moment to connect with your intuition. Whichever pile feels most like it is pulling at your heart or your gut area is the pile that you want to go with. And it's totally okay if you choose more than one pile. That just means that there's more than one message for you. So take whatever resonates, and if it doesn't, then don't bother yourself with it. And we will get into group 1. Okay, so group 1, you guys picked ocean jasper. Very pretty stone, very good for anxiety. It's a very calming stone. Has a very peaceful kind of vibe to it. Makes me feel like I'm just standing at the ocean. So you guys might need some calming energy in your life, some peace, just a little bit of a mental break for yourself if you've been a little stressed out lately. I know I have. So, feel free to give yourself that. Okay, so we will lay out your cards here. I'll be holding them up to the camera. So, the first card is an oracle card that is going to be for your kind of general lessons of the year. So, kind of your general theme of the year, what you're going to be coming up against. What is this year supposed to teach you in your overall life and the role that it's going to play. Okay, and we have the sun. So it's light. Let's see that. So for you guys, group 1, this year is going to be about learning to see the light again. Maybe you guys had a pretty dark year in 2020. I know a lot of us did, so you're not alone. And if you feel like you kind of lost sight of all of the things that were once, you know, good or once brought you joy, this year is the year where you're going to master the art of finding those things, even if you can't always be in the sunlight, because your sun is not always out, you know, 24/7. It rises and it sets. But you're gonna learn how to kind of deal with those cycles of the sun rising and setting. The sun also relates to the yang energy, which is the more masculine, divine masculine energy, which relates to your personal power, responsibility, integrity, your what's it called, solar plexus, confidence, leadership, other qualities, ambition, strength, fortitude, resilience. All of these things are going to be energies that you are being called to master this year, okay? So it might do you some good to look up sun medicine and see the associations with the sun and the types of things that you can put in your life to give you more of this sun energy, okay? But I really feel like you guys are coming out of a really dark period of your life, and now all of this this light that has been just kind of sitting here is going to start kind of bleeding down into this abyss that you've been in. If you can see, it's kind of like falling here. The light is going to start bleeding down into these dark places, and you're going to learn how to kind of climb the rope of sunlight. That metaphor doesn't make much sense, but the way I'm looking at it, it almost like, I don't know, this kind of reminds me of like Rapunzel, like letting down her hair, and then it's like if you're down there you can like climb this like rope of sunlight. I don't know, that probably doesn't make much sense, but I don't know if that resonates. Like being able to follow the things that bring you a little bit of joy, one foot in front of the other, you know. It's not about being happy or positive all the time. It's just knowing which direction to turn when you do feel lost. Like, oh wait, okay, yeah, the sun is in that direction. The sun rises in the east, right? The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And as long as you know that and you can remember that, you know, metaphorically and literally, then you can know which way to go. Because if you know, okay, the sun is going to come up tomorrow, I just need to turn east, metaphorically speaking, you know, okay, this period of darkness is going to end, I just need to turn east towards my desires or towards this new beginning, then that's what you do. So, moving on from that card, I'm like reading off a notebook because I made a spread for this and I don't remember what it was. Okay, so the first card is in regards to your relationships this year. So this is not just romantic relationships, this is any kind of relationship in your life. So it could be platonic, family, co-workers, literally anyone, okay? Because I don't want to limit to just romantic. And again, the theme that we're going with here is what are you creating this year? So this is all about you being in your personal power, not just things happening to you. So what are you creating in terms of your relationships? And we have the Seven of Cups. You can see, I love these cards. I think they're so pretty. So, Seven of Cups, relationships. I see you swimming in an ocean of love, in an ocean of possibility for new connections, for new possibilities in terms of relationships. If this card was in reverse, I would say it kind of would feel like an overwhelm or like you're drowning, but being upright, it doesn't really seem like she is bothered by the fact that she's underwater. She seems to be swimming. She seems to be doing pretty good. So I feel like this year you are going to realize the amount of opportunity that you actually do have. That's kind of like been all around you all along. When it comes to, I feel like, specifically connecting with new people, a lot of times we don't realize how many opportunities we have to connect with people, whether again it just be friendship or romantic or whatever. You have so many more opportunities than you think you do, because we get stuck in the same cycles and the same routines, and we don't ever talk to new people. But I feel like this year you're going to be kind of reaching out and branching out and finding new opportunities, new ways to fill your own cup, so to speak. You're going to learn that you can't expect all of your emotional, relational needs to get met by a single person. So you're going to have to learn to diversify. Like, she has these 7 cups here, and she's like really happy with that, because she knows that she can take whatever she needs from any cup at any time. So this is about surrounding yourself with a strong support system of multiple different people that you can use to fill your cup little by little. This person is going to meet this need. This person is going to meet this need. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, in terms of your relationships. So if you are trying to find a romantic partner, don't go looking for someone who's going to be everything for you, okay? That's how you get into trouble. If you want to actually find a romantic partner, make sure that you're setting yourself up for a healthy relationship and setting yourself up for a healthy breakup. If you are to break up with someone in the future, you need to make sure that you have other strong figures in your support system, that you're getting your needs met through multiple avenues. Okay, so deepen your connections with your friends, with your family, with people who are not just your romantic partners, and then you will find yourself a lot more at ease in your relationships in general, and a better chance of you actually finding a healthy romantic partner, because you're not going to be in this kind of desperate codependent mindset of, I just need this person to be everything, so I don't care if they're actually right for me. If you find people who are right for you in different ways, then you can find someone, romantic or otherwise, who is actually right for you, okay? So whoever that resonates with, please take it. But yeah, lots of opportunities to connect with people, connect with strangers. I literally connected with a stranger the other day. It's a whole story I could tell another time maybe, but it was really cool. So talk to strangers, do things weird and differently, and you'll find that there are a lot of ways to connect with people that you might not be seeing, okay? Okay, the next card we have is in relation to your career / your studies, or anything that you're doing professionally. Again, job, career, studies wise, however it relates to you, take it however you see fit, okay? So we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. Let's see. Okay, I need to pause to drink some water real fast. Hang on. Okay. So, in regards to career, okay. In regards to career, I feel like there might be a perception of being defeated, because we have this in reverse, and she kind of looks like she just was in a fight, like she's kind of all bloodied up. I mean, she looks like she just won a fight, but we have it in reversed, so it's almost like maybe you won a fight with something in regards to your career, like you won some kind of battle, but the results didn't turn out to actually be what you wanted. So it's almost like you put all this effort in, you got all bloodied up for nothing. It seems like this could be something that's already happened, or something that will likely happen this year in regards to something you're doing with your career. something like, oh, I put all my effort in, and like, for what? Like, you're kind of reevaluating things. You're reevaluating what your energy is actually going towards, what your focus and your thoughts are actually going towards, and all the energy that you've put forth for something. It might seem like you kind of wasted all your energy for something that didn't really give you what you thought it was going to give you, and so you're kind of like, well, now what? Like, I did all that for nothing, you know? So the kind of lesson to take away from this is it's going to be tempting to think that it was for nothing, and to think that that was a waste and you just got all bloodied up for nothing, right? But the Queen of Swords has an immense power because she is the Queen of Truth, following her own personal truth and standing by her own, her own integrity, knowing what is right for her, right? So really, all that has happened is you've now been given a chance to redirect some course of action in your life in regards to your career, where it's like you're going to take this experience that maybe you thought was going to help you in one way, but it's going to end up helping you in another way. So just for example, let's say like you went to school and you got a degree, and you were going to get a job with that degree, but then it turns out you got the job and it wasn't what you wanted, or you didn't even get the job that you applied for, or, you know, you found out something that means that you can't have the job anymore. So you're like, what did I get that degree for? So then you might think it was for nothing, but then you find some other way to use what you got out of that degree, whether it be the knowledge or the degree itself, or some kind of thing that you got from having that experience of getting that degree, and you put it towards something else. So maybe there's another job that's slightly different than what you were intending, or maybe you decide to pursue a further degree, or maybe you use the knowledge in that degree to do something else on your own, or whatever it is, okay? This could be a bunch of different scenarios for a bunch of different people. But the point is, you put all your effort into something, it didn't really pan out the way you're expecting, so it's not that you did all that for nothing, you're just taking all of that stuff that you did do and you're redirecting it somewhere else. So this is likely to happen at some point, if it hasn't already happened. You might already feel like you put all this energy in and it was for nothing. And if that's the case, then now is your chance to say, okay, how else can I use this experience, you know, for something I actually want to do? Because the reason why this thing in your career didn't work out is because it wasn't actually in alignment with what you actually want to do, because Queen of Swords, again, is all about being in alignment with your personal truth. So if you uncover what that personal truth actually is, of what you actually are wanting, then you'll find out that this thing that you thought, you know, you wanted wasn't actually what you wanted, and something else might actually be better for you, and it won't be a wasted effort, because you're going to still use all of those skills that you've gained, just in a different way. So keep an open mind. You're not going to know what this is right away, for a lot of you. So just keep an open mind and know that if there's something that you are hoping for, or have some kind of expectation, keep an open mind that you will still be able to find a way to get what you want in terms of your career this year, and to find an opportunity that works for you, but it might not be the one that you think it's going to be. So just keep that in mind, okay? So next we have finances. So I did finances separate from career because I think that they don't always go hand in hand. But finances / kind of like your home life and your like basic resources for survival, you know. So for that we have 8 of Pentacles reversed. Okay. So a lot of things are kind of balancing on top of each other very precariously. And because we're in reverse, there's a good chance that that is not going to keep holding up. So for a lot of you, this might be a year to evaluate your finances, because if all of your finances are resting on one thing, one stream of income, or one, I don't know, if all of your finances are resting on one thing that you're dependent on, okay, all of your resources are dependent on one single factor, then there's a good chance that you will find some instability this year, because there's no guarantee that that one little thing that all of these other things are dependent on is going to stay where it is. It might crumble. So if that's the case, for this group, it is important for you to make sure that you don't have all of your eggs in one basket, that you are diversifying your income, that you have backup plans if that's something that you want to do. But it's time to kind of reevaluate your relationship to your finances and to your career, or not career, your resources. Okay? Your basic resources for how you what things that you take for granted here, okay? It's like all of these things, this foundation that your life is built on, you might be taking for granted certain lifestyle habits. Maybe you take for granted buying the expensive milk at the grocery store, or, whatever it is. Little things that kind of add up. You might have to reevaluate some of those things. Not necessarily saying that you have to, be more frugal or more cheap. For some of you, that might be what you decide to do, but it's all up to you. But the point is, you have to kind of reevaluate all of these things that you kind of have taken for granted, that are kind of dependent on each other, so that you can have a more stable finances this year. So make sure to do that, and to kind of reevaluate and look at that, and make sure that you're prepared, that even if something were to happen and you were to lose this stream of income, or lose the security that you have with these resources, that you will still be able to survive, right? So make sure that you at least have a good mentality that, okay, if I lose all of this, then I'm gonna figure it out. At least have some kind of self-trust that you are not completely emotionally and mentally dependent on your finances. So surround yourself with people and resources that are not necessarily dependent on finances, to make sure that you at least have that kind of stability. Okay, so really important that you build stability with finances and support this year. Okay, next we have your creative projects, or your hobbies, or anything that you kind of just want to explore more, your interests. Okay, and here we have death in reverse. Okay, so it's a really pretty death card, I think. I see you reviving some old projects that maybe you thought were kind of like way in the past, like good and dead. Since we have death reversed, I'm kind of taking a literal interpretation of that, and that some of you might have some ideas that you came up with maybe years and years ago that you just kind of, threw away, wrote in a notebook somewhere and stashed it, or it's in your phone, or, something like that. I know I have tons of like unfinished poetry in my phone and stuff like that. But, you might have started something and like not finished it and didn't really think much of it. And I see you actually kind of taking some of these things that you didn't finish before, that you kind of killed off before, and reviving them in a way. And using them to move forward in a new direction. So the original intent that you had for some of these things that you were creating, it might turn into something completely different. So the key is to not resist that. You know, don't get too caught up trying to live out the dream that that a previous version of you had. You're not trying to live the life that the past version of you was trying to live. You're trying to live the life that you want to live now. So you can take the ideas and the things that the past version of you wanted, and you can still use them, but you're using them in a way that's benefiting you now. You're not trying to be who you used to be, but you're using the inspiration of who you used to be to become who you want to be. Okay, if that made sense. I'm not going to say that again, so don't ask me to. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say about that. Yeah, but look into that. If that resonates with you, then revive some old projects there. Just want to see if there's any other messages that come to me with this. For some of you, you could be painters. Just seeing some kind of like splotches of paint. So some of you could be like combining a lot of different mediums for some kind of creative project. So, you know, maybe not just one thing. You might like, you know, make a video of yourself painting or singing or like all these things together. I don't know. A lot of different things I feel like could be combining for a lot of you, like different interests that you didn't think you could combine before. You might find a way to combine them, because again, it's like all these things that you thought, you know, you're never gonna, you couldn't really see a way forward for them, but now it's like, oh wait, I'm gonna take this interest that I put aside and this interest that I put aside, and I'm gonna take all of these things and combine them and resurrect them all together to create this new thing, right? So look for that, like look for the ways in which you can kind of combine a lot of your interests together, okay? I think that's all I'm getting for you guys in this group for that card. For the next card, we have, oh, okay, yeah, this is your health. So, this is physical, mental, emotional health. We have the Tower reversed. Probably don't want to see the Tower in a health card, right? Or, yeah, in a health reading. But it's reversed, so let's see. Yeah, there is, kind of like I was saying with the Eight of Pentacles reversed, there are structures that you have taken for granted in regards to your health that you might find to not be working for you anymore. What I mean by structures is maybe like, maybe you depend on fast food a lot of the time, but financially that's not really gonna cut it for you anymore, or health-wise, you're just, it's not gonna be good for you anymore. You're not gonna feel as strong and resilient in your ability to digest some of that stuff anymore. So there will be things that you kind of took for granted in terms of your health. Again, could be physical, could be mental. You know, maybe you can't really afford to overwork yourself anymore. You can't afford to be to have your addictions anymore. Certain things that it's just like, okay, I can't really afford to keep living like this anymore. You're gonna realize that, And there is a chance that if you don't take the necessary steps to get on board with that change, then it will feel like a tower moment. But because this is in reverse, I feel like you have a chance to kind of avoid that crash and burn kind of moment, and by kind of saying, okay, I'm gonna make this change myself. I'm gonna be brave enough to jump off of this tower that's already crumbling and find a new way to do things, a new way to live my life, because you are protected, because there's a hand here that's going to catch you, right? There's a hand knocking the tower over, and then there's also a hand catching the people. So all forces are working together for your best interest, even if it might not feel like it. So health-wise this year, if it seems like, you know, something just isn't working or your health is declining, you might be like, why, God, are you doing this to me? But it's all for your best interest. If you get on board with it, you will be able to see that a lot easier and a lot quicker. So take the necessary steps to just kind of be aware of the things you're doing with your health. You know, are you getting enough exercise? Are you eating all of the things that you need for all the nutrients that you need? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you doing enough self-care, meditating? You know, whatever you do, there's no like, you know, there's no checklist of like healthy versus not healthy, really. Like, it depends on the person, but figure out what actually is healthy for you and be willing to look at the ways in which you are not acting in alignment with that, and be willing to maybe make a bit of a drastic change for a lot of you in terms of your health. Maybe a drastic change to your diet for some of you, a drastic change to your exercise routine, or could just be a drastic like physical change. Like, some of you might feel like you need to actually physically move in order to improve your health, because the environment that you live in has a big impact on your health, just like mentally and emotionally, and that also manifests as physically. So for some of you, you might be getting the calling that you need to move somewhere, and this card is saying like you need to do it because otherwise you're kind of going to be forced to, whether you want to or not. So if that resonates with you, then be willing to take that risk when it comes to ways to improve your life and improve your health. You do want to do something drastic, okay, to improve your health. Not something drastic that will decline your health, but some kind of drastic positive change for the improvement of your health will actually be very beneficial to you this year, okay? So lastly, we will draw maybe two cards. One card will be, well, both will be for the theme of kind of your self-development, your spiritual life. You know, what are you growing into spiritually this year? And what is your relationship with yourself going to look like this year? So we'll draw an animal, spirit oracle for that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, we have the fish. Awesome. Some of you might be Pisces or have Pisces energy. If not, this could be a calling to kind of step into more Pisces energy. But this year, you're going to learn how to kind of go with the flow, to swim with the currents instead of against them, to be more in the moment instead of, you know, trying to figure everything out, you know. Fish aren't the most intellectual animals on the planet, but they are very good at being you know, swimming with the current, being in the moment. So you might be someone who's typically very intellectual, very kind of cerebral, and not very good at actually just kind of navigating the waters of life emotionally. You know, I relate. But if that's the case, you're gonna learn how to, you know, kind of swim these currents a little bit better. You're gonna learn how to be in the flow of life and be less resistant to things, you know, not think so hard and long about things. Not that you have to think, not that you have to stop thinking, but it's more about like, you know, you can think, but also make sure that you are gonna go where your body goes, okay? Go where your body goes. Learn how to roll with the cycles of things. Some of you might want to connect with the cycles of the moon more. You might want to have a moon calendar and keep a moon journal, set intentions on the new moon and the full moon and all the different things that you can do with that. You can look that up on your own, but for a lot of you, you might be called to connect with that. If you're women, you might be called to connect with your menstrual cycle. Any kind of natural cycles will be something that you want to look to connecting this year, connecting with the natural cycles of the earth, of your life, and your energy, so that you can be more in the flow of things and less resistant when change inevitably happens, because there will probably be quite a bit of change this year. That's not just for you, that's for everyone. You know, we're in a whole new era, right? We have the age of Aquarius, which just started, I believe, on the 21st of December, so it's a whole new era. There's going to be a lot of changes, so it's best to master this fish energy of being able to just swim with the currents and not resist so intensely the direction that they might be taking you, even if it seems to kind of be unpredictable sometimes. Okay. Lastly, I do want to draw a frequency card for what you need to master this year, and I just drew this card, which was relationship. So it's a year to master relationships. Pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? This did kind of flip out in reverse, so just an indication that there might be a lot of blockages in relationships with you. And again, this is not just romantic, this is any kind of relationship. So I want you to look at the ways in which you are resistant to relationships with other people, see if there's any kind of reflection on, you know, things within yourself that you're resistant to, and in terms of your relationship with yourself, and start taking the steps towards building relationships with people. It's not going to be all at once. It's going to be little by little. How can you build trust? How can you build reliance and safety? And how can you have a equal balance of giving and taking in your relationships this year? So this is the frequency, the energy to master this year is the energy of relationships. Okay. So thank you, Group 1, for joining me. I hope this helped you. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more content so that you see when I post a new video. Leave a comment below if this resonated, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you. Namaste. Okay, hello, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. Don't mind the fact that I look different than in the intro. I could not film these all on the same night, unfortunately. But space is still cleansed, cards are cleansed, everything is still good to go. So, you guys have chosen this piece of Dalmatian jasper. And this is really good for grounding, protection. I haven't really had much of a chance to work with it, so I don't really know much about it beyond those basic kind of properties associated with the root chakra, so you might want to look that up on your own, but you might be needing some kind of grounding exercises in your life right now. So we will go ahead and flip over your cards. Okay. So I have different categories here that each card is going to represent. So the first is your general lessons of the year. So what is a kind of general theme of this year going to be for you? And you guys have chosen, or the card that has chosen you, I guess I should say, from this elemental oracle deck is North Expansion. So this year is going to be a year of expansion for you. And it's going to be a year of you following your true north. So following your true soul desires, right? Your emotions are like your internal compass. They are your internal guidance system, your internal GPS, if you will, that is guiding you towards the things that you want. So this is a year where you're really going to learn how to follow that compass and follow your true north towards the things that you want. Some of you might actually literally want to travel north. For some of you, that could be a message. You might just travel in general. Expansion could be physical expansion too, expanding to a different part of the world, or the country, or wherever you are. Maybe you just go on some interesting travels this year. But there's this energy of movement, of moving forward, moving on, moving in the direction of where you want to be going. So this, again, could be physical movement, or just overall movement in terms of what you're doing with your life and how you're progressing with yourself and your self-awareness and your consciousness and your relationships and your career and all of these things. It's going to be a great forward movement progression, and your task is to learn how to follow your intuition to guide you towards your own personal North Star, which is whatever your destiny is, whatever you came here to be. Okay? Awesome card for you guys there. So the next category I have is for relationships, and this is any relationship, so not just romantic. Also includes platonic, familial, any kind of relationship that you can have. And so you have the Six of Cups. Okay. You're gonna have to learn how to have healthy expectations in relationships. There might be some surprises that you didn't expect to find. In terms of a couple of relationships, some people might surprise you, and you might think that you have a certain type of relationship with someone when it ends up not really being that exact image that you had in your mind. I feel like you're going to be discovering a lot about the people that you're already in relationships with this year, and really seeing things from a new perspective. Yeah, it's like you're gonna see multiple sides of people that you didn't really know existed before. Okay, because she's just kind of observing all of the fish in this one cup, but out of this one cup we have this 3, looks like, fish kind of emerging from it. So you'll see that there's different sides of people that you didn't know were there before. And, excuse me, you're going to be finding out the truth about people, and so that you are able to make decisions about how you want to be in relationships and who you want to be in relationships with. So you're being asked to not judge any of these insights that you have about people, but rather kind of just sit back and observe what happens. Observe how people around you are transforming and changing, and how they have different sides to them that you might not have seen before. And observe how that looks in your life and what that means for you. But don't take any impulsive action when it comes to like ending a relationship or anything. I think you're really being asked to kind of take your time and observe how things play out and learn more about yourself in the process. You know, I feel like you're really going to be deepening your connections with a lot of people this year. You know, so that's something to look forward to. Just, you know, do your best to try to keep yourself open to people. Freudian slip, I guess. Keep yourself open to people emotionally, and be willing to see their full emotional truth as well. So there's going to be a lot of emotional truths being revealed in your relationships, which means that there's a great chance for intimacy in your relationships. But you have to be kind of willing to observe the reality of people, and in turn be willing to let them observe the reality of you. I feel like you'll come face to face with a lot of things that might be incompatible in your relationships this year. But you have the full power to be able to decide what to do about that. And again, that comes from taking this observer position where you're just kind of sitting back and watching everything unfold before you decide to act on anything in your relationships. Okay, so again, that could be, I feel like this is going to be across the board for any type of relationship that you might have. You know, romantic could be in that mix as well. So if you're in a relationship, there could be some conflicts that come up with seeing how your partner changes and evolves, and maybe there's different sides of them you didn't see before, and that could be a great opportunity to connect with them more. And it could also be a chance to reevaluate your relationship with them, and I feel like you'll be doing that with a lot of people in your life. So again, this is not necessarily inherently good or bad. It just depends on how you take it and what the situation looks like. But you will be reevaluating a lot of relationships in your life. Okay. The next category we have is for career/studies. So this is anything in your kind of professional life, what you're working towards professionally. Okay. So what are you creating this year in terms of your profession? And we have the Four of Cups. Okay. So I feel like this is going to be a year where you really feel like you just want to take a break, you know? I feel like this year is going to kind of force you to take this break and kind of rest and reevaluate a lot of things. I feel like that'll be a theme for you this year, is kind of reevaluation. Because I feel like there were things that you were hoping would pan out that didn't, And so there's a kind of disappointment because it's like, well, there's all of these things and I put my effort into this one and it didn't work, and I put my effort into this one and it didn't work, and I put my effort into this one and it didn't work, and this one, and you're kind of feeling exhausted, right? So this year, or at least for a good part of this year, it is actually necessary for you to take this kind of break, and allow yourself to kind of mourn any opportunities you were hoping for in the past that didn't pan out, and just kind of rest, and let yourself process all of these things before you make a decision on what you want to do next. So even though this is a year of forward movement for you, like I was saying, you're gonna have that forward movement is going to come, but it's not going to come in a way that you were expecting in the past in terms of your career. Like if you were expecting in the past to get a certain promotion or a certain job or move to a certain place, or you know, whatever it was in terms of your career or professional life, you were like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. There is some past expectation that you're going to be finding out, or if you haven't found out already, is not really going to work out for you, or it's not really what you want. And so there's kind of a futility in trying to make that work when it's not going to work. So instead of doing that, that's why you're being asked to re-navigate, right? I feel like your theme of this year is kind of like navigation, reevaluation. You know, it's like you lost track of your compass, you lost track of what you actually want, and so now you feel kind of sad and disappointed because you think that you haven't gotten what you want, or you feel kind of overwhelmed and you don't know what you want anymore, but it's just because you've lost track of that internal guidance system from your intuition, from your emotions. So you can use this feeling of disappointment and sadness, and you can look and say, okay, this is showing me something that I don't want, right? Well, I don't want to just be here curled up on the sand forever. So what do I actually want? And by shifting your focus from what you don't want to what you do want, you will be able to re-navigate yourself towards different avenues in your career. But this will be a year where you will find yourself being almost forced to take a lot of breaks from maybe goals that you had for your career, and just kind of let yourself rest, take some time off if you can afford it. You know, if you can't, and that's understandable, but, you know, allow yourself to have some self-care, just some rest. Like, you just really need some rest this year in terms of your career, because the more you kind of rest and reset, then the more you will kind of be recalibrating yourself so that you will be able to move forward towards what you actually want. Okay, and then the next card is in terms of finances and your home life and your kind of resources. So it's different from career, separate from career, because sometimes they don't always line up. You know, you can have your financial life is not always dependent on your career, depending on your situation, and also there could just be different messages for you. But in terms of finances, you have the 7 of Torches. Okay. It feels like you're trying to navigate like an obstacle course of fire, like you're playing that game of like the floor is lava, if you ever played that when you were a kid. I feel like that's how it feels in regards to your finances. It's like you're walking on thin ice, trying to navigate. Again, navigation is a big theme for you. Trying to navigate your financial life, and it might be a bit challenging. You might feel like you're barely balancing on something that's about to break. You're barely hanging on. But again, this is just asking you to get in touch with, reignite, was what I wanted to say. Reignite your passions, okay? Passion is how you're going to find your abundance this year. You just have to kind of reawaken it, because right now you're kind of in this slumber, because there's a lot of things that seemingly didn't work out, and you need to kind of just rest and process that. But in order to reawaken your financial abundance, you need to be willing to follow your passions, and it's not going to be a clear path. Okay, that's what I'm seeing here. It's really not going to be a clear path. It's going to be a little bit all over the place, and you're going to be kind of like, what? Like, you know, okay, I was following this one thing, but now I feel like I should be following this thing. And it's like, you feel like you're going to be kind of led all over the place, you know, like it won't be a straight, clear shot north. It's like going to be a very kind of detoured road, but all of those detours are actually going to be necessary for you to have financial abundance this year. So if you feel called to kind of do some like random things for work that you didn't think that you wanted to do, or random opportunities for financial abundance that you're like, that doesn't really make sense, but if you just like feel called to do that for some reason, then do it. And the more you kind of go along, it might feel like you're kind of just jumping around all over the place, but eventually you will find a sort of stability in that, because you will have kind of a foot in a lot of different places, eggs in a lot of different baskets, and so you'll actually be better off than a lot of people who are just dependent on one source of income or one, you know, thing in regards to their finances, because you're kind of exploring and like jumping all over the place. You actually have kind of a better ability to be resilient, because you will be able to move from one thing to the next without much struggle. So there's going to be a lot of kind of physical movement in regards to what you do for finances this year. A lot of movement from job to job, possibly, or opportunity to opportunity. You might find like weird opportunities you weren't expecting, like someone offers to pay for something and you had no idea no idea that they were going to do that, or you might get a grant or something. I don't know, just like random opportunities might come to you, and it might seem like random, but you're really going to need to like act on these opportunities when they come, because you know they're going to kind of fly through your radar and then they're going to leave. So if you see an opportunity show up, you know, make sure to grab onto it when you see it, okay? Because again, it's going to be kind of like you're in this you're floating through this sky of like chaos, and there's all these opportunities being thrown at you, and you're gonna have to just like jump from one to the next, right? And remember to kind of keep that internal flame, that internal passion alive, and you'll be able to do that even if it feels like you're being led all over the place. As long as you are aware of that internal passion and that emotional intuition, you'll be able to navigate that a lot easier, and you will be able to have some financial growth this year. It's just it might be a bit more chaotic than you might be expecting, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just means that you are learning a lot of different things, and you're being very flexible, very, trying to think of what the word I'm trying to say is. I guess flexible. I feel like there's another word, but I can't think of it. But very flexible in terms of what you are doing and how you are getting finances. The point is, you're just going to keep following those little random signs along the way, and you're going to end up getting somewhere. Okay? So, you know, just take that however it resonates. Okay? Next we have, creative projects / hobbies / what you're going to do for fun this year, how you're going to express yourself, anything kind of creative and fun. And we have the 9 of Torches in reverse. Okay. So it's gonna be difficult for you to make decisions this year on what you want to be focused on creating, because you have a lot of different options here. Like, there's a lot of different things you want to do, and you're kind of like unsure of which one to light first, right? So that's why we're in reverse, because there's gonna be kind of the stagnancy where you feel kind of blocked from creating anything because there's like too many options and you don't know what to do. So, you know, it's like you have all of these different options for things you could be doing in your free time, or creatively, or fun things you could be planning for yourself or saving up for, whatever it is. It's like all these different options, and you're like, I don't know what to focus on, right? I have all these different interests. What am I supposed to be focusing on? And so you might feel this kind of stagnancy come up quite a bit this year because of that. What's important to remember is that fire catches, right? So your passion is your fire. And if you light one of these little sticks, then the rest are going to start lighting, because the fire is going to spread from one to the next. So the fire, the passion that you put towards one project is going to bleed over into the next project, into the next project, into the next project. Kind of like what I was just talking about with the 7 of Torches, all these different things that you think can't possibly go together, they're all going to spread together, and like spread from one another to another. Sorry, I kind of choked on my words there, but you know what I mean. So you're going to be feels like you're going to be kind of jumping around, but really all of it is going to come together because it's all going to be connected. And the passion that you put towards one thing is going to spread to the next thing, and to the next thing, and to the next thing. So really, it doesn't matter what you focus on first, as long as you just go with what you want to do in the moment. Okay, so I feel like you will actually have a lot of luck with finding interests that kind of bleed into one another this year in ways that you might not expect. But you're not going to really be able to see it. Like when you're starting something, you're going to be like, I don't know how the hell this is going to fit into everything else that I want to do. It seems very random, but you will find that everything that you're interested in and everything you put your energy towards creating or doing for fun is going to kind of merge together into this cohesive life of passion that you have built for yourself. And I feel like a lot of these things that you're doing is actually how you're going to be making this financial abundance for yourself. So any kind of random interest you get, you know, just kind of follow it. Again, allow your passion to guide you towards one thing, and then that will bleed into the next, and into the next, and into the next, okay? Some of you might want to do some exploring, take up hiking this year as a hobby, spend time in nature. Maybe you want to do something creative with nature, make some art about nature. video about nature or something. Yeah, just looking for other messages, because I'm just seeing all these mountains in the background, so could be something for some of you. Yeah, I feel like you'll be very inspired by the natural world, so, you know, let that kind of be some of your inspiration if you don't really know where to start. You know, just be inspired by the natural world. Explore a little bit and see some pretty sights and let that kind of inspire you, okay? Okay, so next we have health. And this is mental, physical, emotional, all kinds of health. And we have the Hierophant in reverse. Okay. Beautiful card. This is for health. I feel like you will be exploring a lot of different old types of wisdom when it comes to health, like kind of old Eastern practices, possibly, like not Western medicine is what I'm trying to say, like more kind of old, ancient, tried and true practices and philosophies regarding health and well-being, that have kind of a traditional component to them. So I don't know, it could be things like yoga or Ayurveda or any kind of natural health and wellness that you just want to look at. But there's going to be, because this is in reverse, so there's going to be a breaking from the kind of traditional way of looking at your health for you this year. So however that has manifested for you, kind of breaking from what society has considered to be healthy and reevaluating what is actually healthy for yourself, as it might not add up to what you previously thought. So you might put a lot more emphasis on your emotional well-being in terms of your physical health this year, because we have these this kind of ocean above the head here. So you'll discover the ways in which your emotions affect your body physically, your mentality affects your physical body. It's like you'll see how all of these things kind of integrate and play together when it comes to your health. So I feel like you'll be taking a much more integrative approach to your health this year and breaking from tradition in terms of how you've gone about taking care of your health before. And so there's a lot of kind of old wisdom that you might feel called to be looking up or researching in regards to health. So I'll kind of leave that up to you to decide what that might be. In terms of health practices, again, it could be different kinds of Eastern medicine, or just different old philosophies or ways of systems of health and well-being that you might take an interest in. You might feel like gardening this year for some of you, like gardening your own food for some of you. Like you kind of feel like you feel like you want to kind of break from society and the way that we have become dependent on all of these systems in order to have food and survive, and you know how processed all of our foods are these days. So you might like feel the need to kind of grow some of your own food for some of you. Like there might be a desire for some of you to kind of like live off the grid. You know, maybe not all of you, but in some way or another, you're going to be kind of breaking from the traditional mold that society has set in terms of your health, in terms of what you eat, how you depend on other people and systems for your food and your nutrition and your exercise and all things related to your well-being. There's going to be a bit of breaking from tradition with that for you. So if you feel called to, you know, take any courses related to that or do any research related to that, you know, follow your intuition based on that. Okay? Okay, so lastly, the last category is spirituality / self-development. What is the overall energy for you this year in terms of what you will be creating for yourself spiritually and with your relationship with yourself? So we're going to be drawing an animal card for that. Okay. Oh, cool. We have the black egg, which I will look up because I want to make sure that I get this right. I think this is the throat chakra? Let's see. I know the eggs, there's like 2 or 3 eggs that relate to different chakras, but I don't remember which one is which. Okay. Yeah, I think this is related to the throat chakra. Black egg, speaking from an authentic voice, the truth. Okay, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's kind of long, but I will just go off of what I have, what I know about this card and what I'm picking up intuitively. This year is going to be about, again, finding your personal truth, right? That's kind of what I said in the beginning. Finding your personal truth. In regards to your spirituality, there will be a lot of things that you might be reevaluating in terms of your belief system. What do you believe in spiritually? There might be a shift in your ways of thinking or perceiving. Or you might find out that you want to completely believe in something different than you did before. But you're going to be called to really claim what you actually believe and have to kind of stand up for your own personal truth when it comes to who you are and what you believe and how you're going to live your life, because I feel like a lot of the things that you might be called to do this year might kind of go against the mainstream, what we're kind of told to do, what we're expected to do. You're gonna maybe feel a lot of pressure in terms of needing to conform, again with this Hierophant in reverse. So you're really gonna have to take some risks and be willing to stand out and be your authentic self, even if you don't agree with what everyone is saying. Again, with the Hierophant in the health position, so that could be a lot related to health, which is gonna probably be a big thing for a lot of people this year, just with all of the world events happening. But you really want to be making decisions for yourself and not letting anyone else dictate how you should feel for you. So really listening to that inner voice is going to be really important for you, even if it means that you might have to go against the grain and do things differently. The more that you follow this inner voice, then the more power you will have, and the more expansion you will receive going towards your desires. But you have to be willing to listen to what your inner voice is actually saying. So you might feel the need to do some work with your throat chakra. I keep feeling like air in my throat right now, so I don't know if that's synchronicity with this, but yeah, work with your throat chakra. There's going to be a big expansion in that area for you this year. And then very lastly, I will draw a frequency card for whatever frequency will be the best frequency for you to master this year. Okay. We have improvement. Well, that's nice. Yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of improvements in your life this year, right? And there's gonna be a lot of different opportunities for improvement. So your job is to figure out how to take things that might feel like unwanted change and turn them into opportunities for improvement. Because you're gonna be kind of navigating a lot this year. It might kind of feel like sometimes you're like, I don't know where I'm going. Like I'm kind of feel like I'm gonna fall into the abyss. Like I'm trying to like hang on by a thread here. Your job is to use those opportunities of uncertainty to get very clear on what you actually want and use those struggles and challenges for your benefit, for your improvement overall. So really try to focus on what it is you actually want. Again, with this North card, what is your true north? What do you actually desire? And let that be your guiding light, your North Star, and you will see a lot of improvement in a lot of areas of your life. But you have to be willing to make the decision to, you know, take one step in front of the other, put one foot in front of the other, and work, step towards this improved state. Okay? Awesome. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video so that you will know when I post a new one. And I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you. Namaste. Okay, welcome group 3. You guys chose this big chunky amethyst crystal. So this is really good for crown chakra, or third eye chakra. It's really good for calming the mind, cleansing energy, gaining a sense of inner peace and trust and mental clarity. So those might be some things that you're needing right now. Let's go ahead and get into your cards. Okay. Okay, so, oh wow, okay. You got an interesting spread going here. The first card that we have is going to be your general lessons for the year. What are you generally here to create with your life this year? And we have atoms, building. This is the elemental oracle deck. So look at that. So you this year are going to be completely restructuring your life. So you're gonna kind of have to break things down into their bare components. Look at the bare components of every aspect of your life. What does this thing kind of boil down to? What does this thing boil down to? And you're gonna be taking those bare components and like rearranging them and rebuilding completely new structures in your life, okay? You're going to be taking some of the parts of the old structure with you because you're taking some of these atoms with you as you're traveling this quantum sea here. So you're going to be taking parts of your old life with you. So your job this year is to figure out what parts of your old life, you know, I feel like this is going to be a really big transition year for you. I mean, 2020 was kind of a big turning point for the collective. So you might be now needing to kind of reevaluate a lot of things in your life, and you're in the middle of a transition period. And this year is all about figuring out what parts of the old life to bring with you into the new. So those are those little atoms there. And which parts to let go of and to release back into this infinite sea of possibility here. Okay? So you're going to have to be making a lot of decisions on what to keep and what to release, and does this thing really serve me, and is there a way that it could better serve me in my life? Like, you'll have to be doing kind of a lot of decluttering in a way, and not only like with physical objects in your home, but like with everything in your life, with the people in your life, with your thoughts in your life, with your ways, your habits in your life. So it's kind of like making me think of like Marie Kondo, if you're familiar with her. Like, if it sparks joy, then you keep it, and if it doesn't, then you think it and you let it go. That's kind of what the theme of this year is going to be for you. You figure out the things that spark joy, you're going to keep them. Everything else you're going to release and let go, in every aspect of your life. So you're going to have to get on board with this process and not, you know, don't try to hold on too tightly to things that you don't actually want. It's like, why are you holding on to them if you don't really actually want them? You just feel like you don't maybe trust that you'll be able to find anything better than them, or you fear there's going to be some consequence for releasing them. But that's not the case, okay? Because you're here to completely rebuild your life, start from the ground up, okay? So it's gonna be, you know, a bit of there's gonna be some challenges. It's not going to be like instant success with everything that you do this year, because you're building from the ground up. So you have to have patience and resilience and know that you're working towards something that eventually this structure, this foundation that you set, is going to allow you to have great success and fulfillment. But until you get to that point, it's going to be a lot of infrastructure and building and you know, kind of, it's like you won't really see the results immediately, but that doesn't mean that what you're doing is not important, okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, so now we'll move into relationships for this year. You guys have the Queen of Cups. Okay. Beautiful. So a lot of you might be on the lookout for a new romantic partner. She kind of seems like she is like looking into this cup like, okay, who's next? Who's gonna, you know, who's the next the next person who's gonna receive my love, or that I'm gonna receive love from. But she seems very confident in herself, so I feel like maybe in the past year you have grown a lot in your relationships, and you kind of are in a space where you're ready to receive in relationships now. It's not such a desperate feeling. So you're just you're ready to receive, right? You're ready to receive emotional support from other people. You're ready to receive love from other people. Again, it doesn't have to just be romantic, but in all of the areas of your life, you're going to be learning how to receive, and you're going to be learning how to appreciate what you have, because she is in a sea, right? An ocean of support, of connection, right? So it's just about realizing the resources that you have, getting into a place where you are able to receive emotionally from others, okay? So if you're waiting for a specific, new start with someone or new relationship to come into your life, again, try not to be too attached to what that's going to look like, and look at the opportunities you have all around you, okay? Because you have all of this water around you. You have all of these people that are there who are able to meet some of your emotional needs. So make sure that you are taking the time to kind of appreciate that and get into that mindset of gratitude and feeling fulfilled. And that's when you're really going to be in a space to receive more. Specifically, if you want romance, that's how you will be able to get into a space where you're even able to receive romance. For some of you, if romance isn't something that you are interested in, then it might not apply to you. But regardless, you will be learning how to receive in relationships. So if you've been someone who kind of overly gives and doesn't really know how to take any love in, that's going to change for you this year, and you're going to learn how to be the Queen of Cups and just receive all of the love and connection and support from other people, okay? But you have to kind of be willing to step into this. And this is a powerful position, okay? And she's not codependent, okay? She's not helpless. She is a very powerful figure. So a lot of times we think that receiving is kind of this vulnerable thing that makes us weak or powerless, but that's not true. Receiving makes you very powerful if you know how to receive, right? And if you can feel comfortable with yourself and where you are, then it will be easier for you to receive, and it won't be this kind of desperate energy that maybe you're afraid of, like feeling desperate or feeling you're becoming codependent. That's not what this energy is, okay? This energy is very much, she's comfortable and confident in herself because she trusts herself to be able to deal with her own emotions and to care about herself enough to want to let other people help her meet her needs, right? Because we can't go about life on our own. We have to have other people help us and support us. And the Queen of Cups, who loves herself, knows that that's what she needs, and so she goes out and gets it. But it's from a place of self-love and not from a place of desperation, okay? So that's going to be something that you're going to have to learn this year, a lot of you. Okay, so your next three cards are really interesting. I just want to point this out. We have the Princess of Swords in reverse, the Prince of Swords, and the King of Swords. So we have three of the court cards from the swords. So 3 sword court cards all in your reading, which is kind of crazy. So let's see what that's about. So this Princess of Swords in reverse is related to your career / your studies, your professional life, if you will. And so this is the Princess of Swords reversed. Okay. Okay, so I feel like, so the Princess of Swords is also the Page of Swords in the regular tarot, which is the youngest of the court cards. And you kind of move up the scale here. You go from Princess to Prince to King. So for this one, in regards to your career, there might, and this is in reverse, so there might have been something that you started, a new idea, an inspiration that you had for your career, that you were like all gung-ho, ready to, get started on and just kind of like plow forward and and you know, you're just like, yeah, I'm ready, kind of like similar to the Fool card a little bit in a way. So there was this new idea that you had for something that you wanted to do with your career, and it seems that there's somehow this kind of got halted, or your momentum got halted in a way where now you feel a little bit lost in your direction, or you feel like maybe you didn't plan enough because maybe you kind of just impulsively like went out on a whim and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this thing, and then you're like, wait a second, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, that's kind of the energy that I'm getting here. So it's like you were all kind of like Fool energy, like the Fool card energy, like excited, optimistic, ready to take this challenge on, and then you were kind of met with some of the fallbacks of that lack of preparation that you might have had. So, you know, for a lot of you, this could be like starting a new job, but or you have a new business idea or some kind of new idea for something you wanted to do, but then like once you started, you were like, wait a second, I don't know what I'm doing, maybe I don't want to do this. It's like you have all these doubts, you feel like you don't have as much momentum as you did, like you're not really prepared, you weren't really prepared for the way things were actually going to look. And I do feel like this is something that you actually do want to do, because we're staying in this same suit for the next 3 cards. This is something that you do want to do, but you are just a little bit stuck because you're like, wait a second, I feel like I've lost my momentum, I wasn't prepared for this, I don't really know what I'm doing, someone help me, right? Which is totally normal and understandable. So I think we're gonna get some insight with the next 2 categories as well. But I think for you, in regards to your career this year, you know, again with this Adams card, you're gonna have to do a lot of restructuring that you didn't do, you know, when you first started this new idea, this new prospect. A lot of you, it might be a business idea, like I said, something you wanted to start, but you didn't really know how to start. Like maybe you were kind of all, you know, in your head about it, like coming up with all these ideas, but then you didn't really have any groundedness. You didn't really know like what to actually start with. Okay, so what you were lacking is this Adams energy of the structuring and the building of the foundations, right? You don't really have that foundation. So this year, it's gonna kind of feel like you're going in reverse a little bit, because you're gonna have to go back a little bit to the drawing board. You're still keeping this idea, you're not getting rid of it, but you're just, okay, reevaluating what is the actual structure, you know, that I can build to make sure this actually works. Because I feel like you might have started on something and then you realize you didn't have any structure, you didn't have any plan, and now you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. So you're gonna have to like go back and like look at, you know, what are the basics of this thing I want to do? How could I break it down into actually more practical steps and actually build this structure, okay? And again, with this building of structures, you're not necessarily going to see immediate results. This is about laying the groundwork for what's going to come later. So if you still feel a little bit frustrated because you're like, well, I thought I was going to be moving so fast, you know, and succeeding so quickly with this, and now it feels like I'm stuck. Again, it's all because you're still laying the groundwork. So keep doing that and understand that it's not going to be immediate results, but it will pay off in the future, okay? Okay, next card is in regards to finances / resources, home life, your kind of basic survival needs. So again, because this is finances, this does kind of relate to the last card as well, and because it's the same suit, the same, or it's a cord card in the same suit, I'm kind of going to read these, this card or these 2 cards in the next card as kind of a grouping here. But we have the Prince of Swords in regards to finances. Look at it. Okay. Whoa. So I feel like you've learned what doesn't work because of this Princess of Swords in reverse, because you kind of tried something and you were like, wait a second, never mind, I don't really like know what I'm doing. You kind of learned what doesn't work in regards to your finances. Maybe you weren't really, you had some idea that maybe required a bit of financial investment. Again, if you thought about starting a business or starting a new studies or something, you might have put some financial investment down, not really thinking about it, not really having a strong plan, but you were just kind of like throwing your money at something just because you were so excited about it. And now you're like, wait a second, let me slow down, let me reevaluate. So you learned what doesn't work in regards to your finances here. And you're a little bit more seasoned, right? You're not quite the page anymore. You're now the knight. You've been seasoned by learning what doesn't work. So you now have a lot more knowledge when it comes to smart decisions that you need to make regarding your finances and using your resources wisely, okay? You might be a little bit on the defensive side now, like it might have kind of pendulum swung to where now you feel a little bit stingy or you feel a little bit protective, like overprotective of your resources. You feel maybe a little bit insecure that someone might come and try to take something away from you. There could be a little bit of that energy with this, just because of just kind of the way that he looks, kind of like, he's very armored up, so you kind of had to learn how to put on your armor, because you learned, again, what did not work in regards to your finances and your resources, and making sure that you have everything that you need. So now you might have become a little overly cautious in some ways, but I feel like for the most part this caution that you've gained is pretty healthy, and you're a little bit more seasoned and a little bit more aware of smart decisions that you can make regarding your finances. Let me see. It still feels like this energy of kind of like a battle, though, like, like you have to fight the system, or you have to fight, I don't know, it's like you're kind of at battle maybe with yourself of like, well, I want this, but I don't want to spend the money, and like there's this kind of energy of battle here when it comes to your finances. It's not like, it's not really a secure energy. The Prince of Swords, like he's very strong, right? But he's not in a relaxed position, kind of just like sitting back, not really worried. He's like on the lookout for like the next demon he has to slay, you know what I mean? Like he's like swords at the ready, like who's gonna mess with me next? So that's why I feel like this isn't fully like, you don't really fully feel safe in regards to your finances, or in regards to just like your home life in general. Maybe you have some conflicts with the people you live with, or you feel a little bit insecure about your living situation for some of you, and you kind of feel like you have to put your armor on and like protect yourself from the people around you. Okay. So you have learned a lot, you know what doesn't work in regards of, this energy of moving too fast without a plan, okay? However, it's important for you to, exercise caution, yes. But, it's okay to still, like, relax a little and live a little bit, in regards to these things. I feel like you need to create a stronger sense of safety for yourself. So, however that looks like to you, again, if that looks like to you coming up with some kind of plan, like backup plan, savings plan or something, sorry, my throat is so dry right now, for yourself, then, that's what it can be. If it looks like asking other people to kind of, work with you so that you're not just like fighting these things alone, and that's what that could look like. But you need to create a better sense of safety for yourself in regards to your finances and your the resources that you have that make you feel kind of grounded and safe in your life, so that you don't have to be so like armored up and ready to fight all the time, because there is a little bit of insecurity in this energy, because again, it's not a relaxed energy, it's like ready to go into battle. So, it's good that you've learned from, being too impulsive, and learned not, or the downsides of doing that. But now you need to kind of learn, okay, how can I be careful and aware and diligent and use my discernment, but also kind of, relax a little bit and give myself the things that I need to feel safe and secure and to still give myself pleasurable experiences, okay? So the next card that we have is for in regards to your any creative projects or hobbies or interests or things that you want to do for fun in your life. And we have the King of Swords. So we're progressing from page to knight. We skipped the queen, but we're going for the king. Okay. So this guy, he does seem a little bit more chill, more relaxed. He's not ready to fight. He still has his armor and he still has his sword. He still has the things that he needs to protect himself. But it's not as like, I'm in the middle of battle. You know what I mean? So he feels much more protected and secure with himself. So just like I was saying, in regards to finances, like do the things that you need to do, make a plan or start a savings account or a budget, or get other people involved with helping you manage your resources, or just surround yourself with people that make you feel more safe and secure. Whatever it is for you specifically, is going to help you to feel less on guard all the time, right? So then you can kind of like relax and you feel kind of content, you feel grounded and protected, but you're still able to create and do things for pleasure without so much worry, okay? So again, this is supposed to be in regards to, what you want to create this year, what your interests, what are you going to be doing in your free time, that kind of thing. And because these are all in the same, again, same suits, same court cards, your finances, your career, and your creative hobbies are all going to be connected this year. And a lot of times they are, but not always. So I like to have them as separate categories for this reading. But for you specifically, they're all going to be connected, okay? So the things that you do for fun, your hobbies, your interests, your creative projects, is going to be related to your career and your finances, okay? So again, like a lot of you, like I was saying, it could be a business idea that you had, like you want to start your own business, with doing the things that you already love to do, right? But again, you need to find a way to make yourself feel safe and secure and like protected so that you can do these things from a comfortable place, right? So I really feel like a lot of you just kind of need that support. Some of you might want to find a mentor for some of the things that you're interested in, kind of like a fatherly figure for some of you, maybe someone with more masculine energy. So if that resonates with you, if there's some project you want to start, but you feel like you, again, don't really know what you're doing, like the Princess of Swords in reverse, then feel free to look for a mentor or set an intention to find a mentor, because I feel like for a lot of you that could be something that can really help you this year to really feel like you have mastered, you know, what you feel like you're able to master what you want to do. So, you know, use the struggle that you have gone through, right? The struggle that you have gone through this, you know, past year or however long you've kind of felt this struggle, fight energy of, you know, this journey that you've gone on. Use that as your kind of inspiration for what you want to create, because you will have gained a lot of wisdom from this experience. So, you know, whatever you feel like you are like seasoned in, like, okay, I know how to do this, like I went through this, I survived it, this is what I know, like whatever you feel like you're an expert on. Maybe you don't feel like you're an expert on anything right now, but throughout this year you will start to see the things that you are an expert on. That is the thing that you want to be focusing on when you're trying to create. Like, you know, if whatever your true excellence is what you want to be creating with, okay? So, however that resonates with you, take it or leave it. I will say, since these, again, these three cards are the Suit of Swords, which relates to thought and intellect and communication. A lot of you, these talents that you might have that might bring you this finances and career that you're looking for could be related to communication. You could be writers. You could be thinkers, debaters. Like, I feel like you have a lot of mental energy. So anything that you can, you know, use that for. You might be very analytical. You might be good with computers. Some of you might be good at analyzing situations or people, and good at communicating. So however that, you know, looks for you, that's, again, what you are going to want to focus on in terms of what you are creating this year. Okay? And then we have your health. So what is your messages for your health going to look like this year? We have the Empress reversed. Beautiful. So, your health this year is going to be kind of dependent on you reconnecting with nature, like getting more in touch with your natural way of being, letting yourself be nurtured, okay? This is in reverse, so I feel like for some of you there could be some trauma related to being nurtured that is affecting your health, where you're maybe not eating properly, or not being properly sustained by the things in your life. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Some of you might be mothers. Might be a couple of you, I don't know. And you might feel a little bit undernourished in that role. So you feel like you are constantly giving, but okay, so sorry about that. So what I was saying is, if there are any of you who are mothers out there, you might feel a bit unsupported in that role where you feel like all the pressure is on you to give, and you, again, haven't mastered this Queen of Cups energy of receiving, or you'd feel like you don't have the support for yourself. So it's really important for you to nurture yourself this year in terms of your health. For a lot of you, there could be trauma related to the mother wound of not being nurtured, not being fully taken care of and loved unconditionally. Could be some trauma with breastfeeding or being weaned from the breast, where you have this just kind of lack of security in the feeling of being nurtured. And as that comes to your health, you know, your health is all about how you nurture your body and how you take care of yourself. And so that is going to be reflected in the choices that you make in regards to your health. So it's really important that you learn how to nurture yourself this year and get back in touch with your natural state, your natural body, the natural cycles of nature. If you're a woman, it might really help you to connect to your divine feminine energy and get back in touch with your like the energy of your menstrual cycles. It does actually really affect your health, believe it or not. And just like the health of your menstrual cycle, I should say. So that might be something you want to look into. You know, if that's not relevant to you, you still want to look for ways to nurture yourself this year. So when you're making decisions for your health, make decisions that are going to be best nurturing for yourself, for your body. Let the earth nurture you, right? Spend a lot of time in nature. Let yourself be nurtured and cared for by the earth, by Gaia, if you like to connect with goddesses and connect with the earth mother, Gaia. But, you know, just really try to embody that energy of being supported and cared for and nurtured, and seek out however, you know, whatever ways you can do that. Some of you might literally need to eat a lot more greens because she kind of looks like she's wearing a dress made out of lettuce here. So, you know, make decisions for yourself and what you're eating and how you're taking care of your body that are nurturing to your body, that are most in alignment with your body's natural state, natural way of being. So, you know, whatever that means for you. There's no one size fits all for everybody, but really check in with what is nurturing to you. Cold showers for some of you might be helpful with this rain. That there's really good for regulating your nervous system. You know, just little things that you can implement daily to get yourself into a better state of health, a better state of well-being, better state of trusting and feeling supported and nurtured by your environment, okay? Okay, so lastly, we'll have 2 cards for your spirituality, your spiritual growth this year, your growth with yourself. What is the overall theme for your spiritual growth this year? We have an animal spirit card, and the one that we drew is a lizard. Okay. I'm not that familiar with this card, so I will look up the book, look at the description. Lizard, instinctual, sensitive to the subtle, dreamer. Lizard is an expert in the realm of sensory perception, as if it has a sixth sense. The lizard hears what is yet to be spoken and sees what is yet to manifest. Although this is an amazing gift, it can easily wear the lizard down. Big crowds, lots of travel, or overstimulation will drain a lizard of their magical essence. This card is an indication to pull back from the bright lights in big city and return to the inner artist who's been whispering your name. When in balance, artistic, telepathic, spiritual. When out of balance, elusive, non-committal, flaky. To bring into balance, a creative project. Okay. So, regulating your senses, or regulating your nervous system, I feel like is going to be a big thing for you this year in terms of your spiritual growth and well-being. Learning to trust your intuition. Learning to trust your kind of creative intuition too. Like, I feel like your intuition comes to you through very artistic means. So for some of you, you might get intuitive messages from painting or writing or singing or doing something creative. And so if that resonates with you, then those are the kind of things that you want to be doing when it comes to looking for guidance, because you have this inner knowing, the sixth sense of, what is right for you. But you do kind of need to pull back a little bit from the overstimulation. You need to nurture yourself, regulate your nervous system so that you can, listen to that inner voice, figure out what it is it's saying. And I feel like for a lot of you, the way that you will do that is through your creative projects. So whatever you create is going to give you this insight, right? It's also going to be connected to your finances in your career. So you need to kind of use that, use creativity to give you intuition for what to do about your finances and your career and anything else that you might be facing this year, okay? A lot of you might really just be looking for some time to kind of relax a little bit and spend some time just bathing in the sun, taking it in. It's okay to move a little slowly too. It doesn't have to be this fast, okay, what's next? What's my next thing I gotta slay? It's okay to kind of take your time. Lizards sometimes they kind of can be very watchful and very slow. Not that they can't move fast, but a lot of times when I see them, they're just kind of chilling. So it's okay to just kind of observe, take your time. Again, you're not going to see a lot of instant results this year because you're going to be restructuring a lot of things, building from the ground up. So it's okay to kind of move slowly, kind of take it in slowly, let yourself bathe in the sun and drink it in, and really just let yourself process things at your own natural pace. Use your creativity to give you intuition. You'll find a lot of this spiritual growth this year that will feel natural to you and won't feel like something that you can't handle. Don't know if anyone else has had experiences where you had awakening experiences that maybe did feel like you could not handle them. I definitely relate to that, but that's not what the goal of that your soul has for you this year. The goal is to kind of take it in, be a little bit more slow and diligent with the way that you do things. Let yourself be nurtured, let yourself be guided by your intuition and your creativity, and allow yourself to build from the ground up, okay? It's not a race. You're not trying to race anywhere. You don't have to win a battle, okay? It's okay to just kind of, sit back, trust and know that you are protected and that you're gonna have everything that you need, okay? So just kind of, learn to be comfortable in that receiving position. Learn to let yourself be nurtured, take it all in, and, let yourself build from the ground up. It's not a race. You don't have to rush, okay? A lot of you might have had a very kind of rushing energy, maybe for the past couple of years of your life where you just felt like you had to get somewhere, but now it's like, okay, now we can take our time. Okay, we can take our time, we can take this in, we can, you know, be guided by our intuition, but we don't have to rush, okay? So lastly, oh my god, I just spilled cards everywhere. Okay, lastly, very, very lastly, I will draw one. Okay, I feel like it wants to be this one because it just flew out at me. One of these frequency cards, and the card that flew out at me. I actually don't ever think I've drawn this card from this deck before, which is crazy because I've had this deck for so long. Is optimism. Beautiful. So, yeah, optimism. Learning to trust the feeling of optimism. Maybe you feel like you can't trust optimism now because of this Princess of Swords energy where you were optimistic, but then it didn't work out. Now it's in reverse. But it's not the optimism that was your problem, right? It was just this lack of, you know, planning and structure, but the optimism isn't to blame for that. Okay, what's to blame for that is, you know, maybe feeling or just not being aware enough to realize that you needed to have a structure, you know, it doesn't really do you any good to figure out, you know, how that happened or why that went wrong. But optimism is not your enemy, okay? If you have a difficult time being optimistic because you feel like every time you're optimistic things don't work out, then that's, I understand that you're in a very painful position when it comes to feeling optimistic. So I just want to say that optimism is not about, it's not about not being in, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. True optimism can happen from a place of reality, is what I want to say. So it doesn't have to be escapism. It doesn't have to be just like blindly hoping for something and not taking any action towards it. But true healthy optimism can come from a very grounded place of reality. Like, okay, this is what I want. How do I take the steps to get there? Okay, because it is going to be a slow process. So you do have to have, you have to be able to keep a sense of faith, right? That what you want is going to happen. But it doesn't have to be, you know, crazy risk after crazy risk with no plan. You can have a stable plan that you build, but you're building it because you are optimistic that it is going to pan out, okay? So optimism is the energy to master. Healthy, grounded optimism that is from a place of reality and not from a place of escapism, okay? So learn to kind of discern the difference between the two. You know, try to bring the things that you want, your dreams, into reality versus trying to escape reality by entering the dreamland in your head. You can have the things that you want, but focus on how you're going to actually manifest them into your current reality. What are the building blocks and foundations, the blueprints that you need to lay to make it happen, okay? So, hope that helped you. Thank you for joining me, group 3. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you liked this reading so that you get notified when I post a new video. And I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you and namaste.